to Lawyers and Libations with Sarah and Rebecca.
Hello. Happy New Year-ish.
Ish.
Roundabouts.
You know what? We fucking survived Christmas. Thank you, sweet baby, 8-pound swaddled Jesus. Thank you. Christ almighty. I mean, if there was ever a time to say it, now's the time.
Or in the words of Sarah, Jesus tits.
Jesus tits. Yeah, pretty much. That is exactly how I feel. I'm glad that it's over and done with. Mm-hmm. Thank God. Were your kids thrilled?
They were. They loved the puppy. The twins are still so stinking mad about the phone thing, but I know that most of their friends have phones. They probably will get them for their 12th birthday, which is coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I'm just not 100% ready. And they've got their iPads that they text and call everybody from anyway, so I just don't know that they need one quite yet.
You know what I think you should actually say? You can give them this choice. You can get a phone if mom and dad get divorced. That's the way it works, because that's why Adeline got a phone.
That's probably why most of their friends have phones.
Exactly.
Actually, now that I think about it.
2 years ago, and it's because I didn't want Justin to keep calling my fucking phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, Adeline, here's your phone.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Now I put Bark on it. I've got all the things. She's not allowed any social apps. No Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, fucking Pinterest. I don't know why that shows up as possibly a flagged app, but I'm like, I don't know. There could be sex on Pinterest. Who knows? You don't get that either. No Facebook, no nothing, Instagram, nada. So she's very pissed off about it, but I don't have to have her dad call me all the time.
Yeah. Well, so twins were mad about that. I think everything else went great. We got the puppy. We're going on a ski trip in February. So, P.S. they don't live a crappy life. So, like, when they whine about the phone, I'm like, okay.
Oh, you okay? You're fine.
Would you like me to keep your puppy for myself?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And again, we could get divorced if you want us to, and then I'll give you a phone. But until then, tough shit.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it goes. I had told Adeline that she wasn't actually going to get a phone until she was, I don't know, like 8th grade or something. But then again, I got divorced, and I was like, I'm not continuing to listen to this call anymore.
How was your Christmas? Everybody happy at your house?
Fantastic. Yes, we are leaving for Whistler. Adeline and I are going skiing in Canada for a week before her school starts. So, like,
that'll be amazing.
Yes, knock on some sort of wood, even if this is like plywood or something. But I want to make sure that I, don't re-tear my fucking ACL. Tim Griffith would be very angry with me if I did that. But I think it's going to be amazing. I've not been to Whistler, but it's part of the Epic Pass.
Oh, yeah.
Which
I knock off all the
things
options on there.
Yeah. So I actually have multiple ski trips. It is one of the great joys of both of our lives. Mm-hmm. But I really, really love skiing. And so we've got Whistler. And then I'm taking my brother skiing to Telluride the 7th through the 11th of January. And then we've got a Georgia continuing legal education thing at Beaver Creek.
I'm not officially signed up for that one. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, you're going to go ahead and go to that.
I do have an Epic Pass that I need to
exactly.
put to use.
And you know what? Free, basically. And so there's that one, the 22nd through the 26th. And then we'll do a girls' trip in February, like we always do. Mm-hmm. And then Adeline and I did as one of her Christmas presents for spring break, we are going to Germany and skiing in Austria.
Oh, my God. That'll be amazing.
Well, so I saw some TikTok saying that it's cheaper, or maybe it was Instagram Reel, whatever the fuck it was, but saying it's cheaper to go to Europe skiing than it is to go out west. And I was like, I wonder why I've never thought about that. You're probably right. I mean, I skied one time in Austria when Adeline was like 18 months. It was like the last go of like putting her on my lap to fly over there for free. And it was so much fun. But I have not skied over there since. And so I started doing the research, and it was significantly cheaper. And the Epic Pass works with some of those things.
Of Europe.
In Austria. So I'm going to those places.
That's amazing.
I know. I'm so excited. But I think for that trip, I'm just going to bring, I will say, skiing is a much more affordable hobby if you have your own gear, right? And then you buy an Epic Pass. So if you do an Epic Pass, if you're going to do, more than one ski trip, it's fully worth it, because then you can do 5 ski trips and all of your lift tickets are done for. But if you have your own gear, like I've got my own skis and my own boots and my own poles and all my things. So it's like, I'd really be like kind of losing money if I didn't go. So
I mean, basically.
I mean,
no, and I've got my own helmet because I've got my bill. I need to get you the same speakers that I have so we can talk to each other while we ski.
shut up.
Because mine are Bluetooth.
You can
and
talk?
you can. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we need those. I want those. That'll be fun.
Okay, maybe I'll get that for your Valentine's present.
Yes, I love that. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. But I think I'm only gonna bring my boots because I'm not gonna fucking carry through like Munich
absolutely
my
not.
ski bag. It's fucking too much. So, but yes, going skiing, couldn't be happier about it.
It's
Very
the best.
happy.
Well, I hope that all the knees are
I think
good.
we'll
And you
be
skied
fine.
last year. You were totally fine.
I did 5 ski trips last year, and I was
And your
solid
new
as a
knee was
rock.
good.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim Griffith with Peachtree Orthopedics. Great surgeon.
Oh, yeah.
Braves team doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Also good. So I want to talk about really quickly, which is completely off topic, but I was reading about it in the news. And that is Brad Pitt just turned 60, which kind of hurt my heart a little bit. But also the fact that he has a 33 fucking year old girlfriend. Can we talk about that for a minute?
It's absurd.
Okay, so I'm not judging. I think everybody should be able to do exactly what they want to do. Most of our male colleagues in our industry, when they are done with their first wives and they're unhappy, they usually find a second wife that's a minimum of 20 years younger, which does lead to the conundrum of having kids in college and kids in daycare, which makes me laugh a little bit. But just saying, that is a regular occurrence in our industry. Would you confirm that?
Yes.
I think it's everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, I told you earlier, I just saw Tom Cruise. His girlfriend is 36. Tom is 61.
Is she a Scientologist?
She's a Russian socialite.
Shut the fuck up.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think you've just rented a whole floor for her, like at some restaurant. So I guess in the girl's defense, I mean, go
Why
old and
not?
rich, and
Yeah.
then like somebody rents out a whole floor to celebrate.
Wait
you.
until you need to change their fucking diaper. Enjoy it, sweet cheeks.
Well, that's the drawback for women our age because we're mid 40s. So
Yeah.
we're bumping up 30 years. We're going to guys in their mid 70s. They might be all right now, but in 10 years, you will be wiping their butts probably.
Gross. So Leonardo DiCaprio, same thing. I mean, and again, I'm not judging. Actually, that's a fucking lie. I am totally judging all of them a little bit. But what I really want is equality. Okay? That's what I want because I'm 45. So let's go down the age frame. If we're looking at, let's see, she's 33, he's 6, that's 27 years younger. So, okay, I'm all of a sudden now fucking an 18-year-old. That's probably inappropriate. So let's go with inappropriate that.
I mean, I probably would judge you if you was.
I don't blame you. I too would judge me. Okay, fine. 21, judged. 25, judged. 28.
Well, I think part of the problem, and this is going to sound super shallow, is they're not going to have a lot of money unless they come from money until they're older.
Well, no, but that's the good thing about being. So obviously, Leonardo and Brad and Tom, they don't need anybody's money. I'm very comfortable with my money. That's the good thing as you get older. Is you like, as a female, I think especially, like, I don't need your babies or to have any more babies. I already have my own. She's the love of my life. I don't need your house. I also have my own. I don't need your money because I have my own law firm, right? And I know how to work. So the good news is it's either you add something or you're not in my life at all, which is probably why I'm perpetually single. But I just want to go back to the judging thing of the age because 28, I mean, I did have a time when I got separated from my husband where I may have hung out with a number of 26 to 28-year-olds. Fine, whatever. But in long term, that's never going to work, right? Like, that's like a fun, haha type thing.
Well, this is going to sound very anti-female. I think part of the problem is most women do not get better looking with age, right? Like, I think we're held to such a high standard as to what we're supposed to look like, and like, unfortunately,
But now Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo,
they all look great. Yeah,
they're phenomenal. They're 10 years older than me.
but what are they going to look like
older.
at 70 and 85? Whereas like a guy can just get away with having like a nice head of gray hair and lots of money, and they can get chicks.
70 and 85, they're going to fucking be old and unattractive. But, I mean, Brad Pitt he's 60, he's hot as shit. I couldn't agree more.
He's not as hot as he used to be, though. I just saw the Entertainment Tonight thing where they like age, like they do one picture from every year.
Oh.
He peaked at like 52.
Of course he did. So I feel like I could still peak, but still, if I dated even like, so I guess here's the thing. I don't think women are necessarily judged for, say, banging somebody 20 years younger than them. But if I were to show up at one of our black tie parties with my new 28-year-old boyfriend, what do you think people are going to fucking talk about? They're not going to do it to any of our male colleagues. They're not going to sit there and be like, oh, can you imagine Bill with that girl? Never would it cross their mind. But
Well,
if
I think
I
you
do,
should
they'll
try
be
it.
like, I think you should try it.
I think you should give it a whirl.
You know what? You're probably not wrong. I think we could do a social experiment and be like, watch this, motherfuckers.
I agree.
But, I mean, like,
So
even
we'll put that
35.
let's put that on our New Year's resolution activity list for you. Let's lock and load.
They're a 28-year-old for my boyfriend to bring to parties. Okay. All right. You're on, game on. Challenge accepted.
Because this is what I don't like about a younger man. Is what about when you're 70 and he's then what, 50?
I don't want to marry any of them, honey. I don't.
But what if you do?
I don't want to deal with anybody breathing next to me in my bed.
What if you fall in love with this young 28-year-old? You marry him.
That's cute. Yeah.
When you're 70
Uh-huh.
and he's 50, that's when he's going to start fishing around the 30-year-old girls.
And I will be so fucking thrilled to be alone at 70 that I will move in with one of my girlfriends and we will read Virginia Woolf to each other. And we will walk along the shores of Maine. That actually sounds fucking perfect.
Okay, so arm candy till 70 and then...
Look, 70's kind of old, maybe 60. Just 15 years, arm candy, and then it's Virginia Woolf from here on out. That's my plan.
I think it sounds like a good plan.
Okay, well, we're just going to have to keep our listeners posted. So if any of our guy friends that are listening that I do love so much have really hot 28-year-old sons, I'm coming for them this year, New Year's resolution.
Warning. Protect your son.
Saddlemeier's on the loose. Sorry, this sounds really bad. But
Any applications, just send them in.
Yes,
Rebecca at Stoudemire Law. I'll review them.
Yeah.
We'll pick out some young
yes,
cuties.
for sure. But no, I do think it's bullshit. And again, it's just some weird gender discrimination fuckery. But I can say this quickly and then we can wrap this little part up. But I think that Viagra really fucked a whole generation of sugar babies, right? Because they all came out thinking that they're going to land the, 75-year-old guy with $100 million, and now they have to bang him. That's tricky. You don't want to do that when you're 25 and he's 75. That's fucking gross.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. I don't care where they're flying you on a private plane. Viagra. It was not a woman's friend. It was definitely a man's friend.
I mean, how nice is the private plane, though? And where are you going?
God, I love you for that. Plus, you really love older men. You think that, like, the silver fox thing, like, you love all that.
If I were to remarry at
Yes.
some point in time, I think I would go.
If if the love of your life were to tragically die in an accident,
Or leave
you
me-
would find an older man, silver fox with lots of money.
If and when Ryan trades me in for one of these 33-year-olds, yes, I would go right on up the age range.
Can you fly me and my 28-year-old boyfriend on your plane then? Because that'd be great.
What if I were with a dad and you were with the son?
With like Kevin on Yellowstone, Kevin Costner and what's that the hot sun guy?
Not Jamie.
No, fuck, definitely not Jamie. He's awful. Anyway, it's that meme where they say, I'm at that age where I can either beg your dad or beg you. You're welcome. Like, I mean, we could be in that sweet spot at this
fair.
point.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
New Year's resolution. So, who do we have coming on today?
Well, I'm excited. We're just talking about this, like, women and equality and kind of.
Fuck yes,
Yeah.
as we should always.
So I'm excited. Our friend Rob Hammers is on, and so he actually does mass tort stuff.
Yes.
As we'll hear when we ask him some questions, a lot of the mass torts that he is kind of like taken on are things to help out women in some crazy medical situations.
Because they don't do enough testing?
I mean,
Because
we're
we're
going to
women?
ask him that. So he's
Shocking.
kind of a secret champion of women. So.
I love that.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I do love Rob as one of our dearest friends, and we adore him, and he's also a brilliant fucking lawyer. So let's see what kind of drink he's going to bring us. I have no idea, but excited to have him. So we will
Absolutely.
be back in a few minutes with Rob Hammers.
Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations with Sarah and Rebecca. We are so excited to have our friend Rob Hammers with us.
Yay, Rob. We're very happy.
What did you bring us to drink today?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. This is a great podcast, and I'm sure this is going to be a very fun hour. So I didn't bring as hard of liquor as I probably needed, but we're going to talk about mass torts. And the thing about mass torts is they take forever to mature and pay out. And so I brought a very old Napa cab. It's big, it's bold, and it delivers. And so that's
I'm
what
excited
I did.
about that. Let's do
And,
this.
Perfect.
This is the Terlato Family Vineyard Chimney Rock Tomahawk.
Say 2012.
And it is a 2012.
You actually love us, don't you?
isn't
Thank
And
you for
I
that.
will tell you, I brought the Tomahawk since you're shooting at the Battery. So,
Yes.
you know,
Oh, it
go
smells
Braves.
very good.
And this is your classic
I'm just
Stag's
shooting
Leap.
that in just in case. There
Yeah.
you go.
So cheers.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Oh,
Happy
cheers. I totally took a sip
New
before and I was so
No,
excited.
that's totally fine.
I mean, it's delicious. Look at these sparkly glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
We're
The
gonna take
glitter's
these
inside the plastic.
Thank fucking God I hate glitter, but they look really pretty. I mean, you're a girl dad.
That is right.
You too hate glitter everywhere.
Yeah,
in your
but I
house.
mean, it's unavoidable in most situations.
Now, how many girls do you have?
I have two daughters, Mia, who's 9, and Maddie, who's 13.
I mean, so you have your hands full. Are they boyfriend age or are they?
Well, not Mia.
Okay.
She's 9. Lord have mercy.
I had
couldn't even
boyfriends
imagine.
in kindergarten. So I'm just
I
saying.
could see that.
Shocking.
A little boy
Shockingly
crazy over
enough,
there.
I was boy crazy. I loved all the boys.
Maddie is certainly of an age to where she's been asked out, but she has said no to all of the gentleman suitors in her middle school to Dad's delight.
Oh, good.
Yes, Maddie.
I know. And y'all have probably met her at GTLA
Yes.
events. We were just at the St. Regis and did the Tea with Santa.
Oh, it's so fun.
See, yeah.
Not cheap.
No,
No.
I did. We
It's a
took our
fortune.
girls there year before last, I think, or maybe
It was during COVID
it was
because
during COVID. Yeah, Santa had
and
on a
they had
mask.
the clear guards around their face.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's not cheap. Adeline asked if we could go back again this year, and I went to book, and of course I was fucking too late and screwed it up. Shocking.
Oh, yeah.
So my hack was I called the concierge when I verified my reservation, and I was like, hey, can I downsize from a king to doubles? And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I want to bring my kids, and can I bring my 2 Maltesers? And they were like, oh, goodness. So when they approved my 2 Maltesers and my children's queen bed so that Lauren and I could make it a family weekend, I was like, if you get a cancellation, let me know if we can do Tea with Santa. And around 9 or 10 a.m. on Friday morning when the girls were going to get checked out of school, they called and said, hey, we have one at like 3 o'clock.
You fucker. That was some good thinking. You little wily bastard.
Well, and so sweet that you took the whole family to the St. Regis.
no, that's lovely. The dogs, too?
Yeah.
The whole
I didn't
fam?
even know they let fucking dogs.
They got to be
in the
under
St.
25
Regis.
pounds.
Okay, so like Blue, my 75-pound lab, wouldn't not allowed on their beds. But Maxie, the dog that will actually bite you, the 9-pound is
Welcome.
allowed. Yeah, welcome. Come on in, Maxie.
Well, and I wonder if that's also the benefit of y'all being girl parents is like my boys would beat the shit out of each other in the St. Regis lobby at some point in time. The tree would fall over.
Oh yeah,
and then
they would
Hayden would
really
scratch them in
mess
the
up
face.
like
We'd get thrown out.
No, the gingerbread house. It's like all handmade and
Done.
stunning.
George would eat it.
George would just spear tackle it. Yeah, no,
We don't do
girl
things like
parents
that.
are much. We have a much easier road.
Yeah.
For sure. Which I always said that. Again, God gives you what you can handle. Mine was one very angelic daughter. Period. I'm like, thank you. That was a good choice, God. Thank you.
I love that
yeah.
for you.
Even my daughter has been misbehaving a little bit. I came home yesterday and Hunter had a giant like scrape like deep down into his arm. And Hayden goes, I'm so sorry. We were playing basketball and it got on my nerves. And so then I just like swiped at him. But I mean, it was like oozing blood. But I mean, I think that's what happens when you live with men. Then she too should go to Vlad and maybe learn how to fight without blood.
100%. I will say that I'm one of 5 siblings. And so I grew up with an older brother who's 3 years older and it's a split family, but one sister that's a year younger and then 2 sisters that are 10 and 12 years younger. But the fights we used to fucking get into, I mean, bloody, bad fights. Like I had buck teeth because I sucked my thumb because I sucked my thumb. My little sonogram pictures me sucking my thumb in my mom's stomach, and so I sucked my thumb till I was like 10 or something. So I had kind of like some buck teeth going on, and my sister Regina had long nails, and so she would go to scratch me, and I would wrap her up from behind and take my 2 teeth like a rabid rat and like on down on like on top of her
So
fucking
you were
head.
always crazy.
I was always crazy, but she was scratching me and it hurt, and I had to use what I had at the time. Buck teeth. Nailed it.
Oh my God.
I mean, my girls, don't fight openly in front of others. It is clandestine, like vicious
Spy type shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Maddie and Mia both get at each other. Now Maddie's 4 years older than Mia, and so she bullies her to some degree, and Mia worships Maddie. But Maddie's come with several war wounds that were significant that I've seen.
I think it's good for him. It builds
the way it
character.
Yeah.
Ish.
I remember
mine are scarred. Mine, particularly Hunter's got a couple of scars on his face, but
Oh, yeah.
he look tougher.
My brother and I used to fucking full blown. He also locked me in a dog cage one time because like he threw my shoe and I went to get it and I was like facing like this and he locked the thing behind. It's probably why I'm claustrophobic today.
Was the dog in the cage?
No, siblings are assholes though. They're really terrible to each other, but it does make you tougher.
It does.
Yeah. Had I never fought with a boy before, I'd never want to keep fighting with him.
Exactly.
My sisters are pretty. We fall right in the same thing. When we went to Disney World in the 80s, I can remember. So my sister Melanie is easily triggered. So my sister Donna was on the driver's side passenger window, and I was on the passenger side rear window, and my sister Melanie was in the middle. And she would be very territorial about how much space that she had between.
Don't cross that fucking line.
Right.
Nope.
And so obviously we would just like move your finger just a little bit over the line. And when she'd get mad, we would say she was crabby, and we would just do like the crab pinchers until she like absolutely
Lost her shit.
And then I rode from probably Macon to the rest of the House of Mouse in the Volvo station wagon rear, which now would be child cruelty. No safety devices.
You'd probably be pulled over. It's
but
fine.
yeah, we made it from. I grew up in Charlotte, but we moved here to Atlanta in the '80s. But in that trek, I made it probably the first 2.5 hours in the passenger rear, and I spent the next 7 in the back.
Oh yeah. I mean that's fair.
I loved those old wagons. My mom had 2. We had the big Oldsmobile one. So first we had the gray one that had like the paneling, the riding in the rear view.
You had the bits in the back that
best.
looked at the rear end collision coming at you.
Oh yeah. That, and then we had a blue one.
The 18-wheeler
I
that's
guess you're not gonna get
jackknife
whiplash
coming
if you go this way instead
coming
of that way.
straight at your fucking ass at 100 miles an hour.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it's no crazy.
Does anybody even drive those anymore?
I don't think so. My mom had a Volvo
pretty
station
certain
wagon,
they're
and it
out.
saved her life. She went off on we were from Highlands, North Carolina, and she went off side of the road on some black ice, and a big boulder came down and landed on top of her car, and the roll bars protected it.
That's why I
'Cause it was
kept
a
my
Volvo.
Because it's a fucking Volvo. They are
kept
great cars.
my wagon, crossed the 200K mark this year and gave it to the au pair. My guy that works on it, he's like, this thing will run forever. He's like, safest car on the road. And I'm like, should I trade it in? He goes, first of all, you probably couldn't sell it for anything, but he goes, it'll go another 100, and it's a tank.
And now you can give it to Hey, because she's probably going to be not as good of a driver maybe as Hunter. Hunter might be more a little alert. She might be like, la, la, la.
She's marrying Rich. I think that she'll just have a driver. I don't even know that.
It'll be a self-driving car.
I'm just
We're
saying for
already
her,
driving
for her
around in the little
16th
thing.
birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the wagon, honey.
It
I've
is
been thinking
leaking.
about the whole Tesla thing, or whatever autonomous car that comes out, because Maddie will be on the road in 2 years, and that girl's ADD is severe, and so I'm petrified of what will happen. So it's either bumper cars or self-driving car, right? And so I can put her
couldn't
behind
agree
the wheel,
more, yeah.
and I'm in control, and I'm like, okay, she's going 35, I'll slow it down. And like, oh,
Yeah.
she wants to change lane. No,
Nope, sorry.
It's like you
think
got like a
that's
remote
brilliant.
control. You like take them to the drive them.
Now, Ryan does have one of the newer Volvo SUVs, and it will, like, if you hit, it doesn't have self-driving, but it's like driver assistant.
Right.
So, like, if you're eating while you're driving, which I'm sure you shouldn't be doing, but it will, like, I mean, it keeps you in the lanes. It's so creepy.
I disable that shit every time I rent a car, like in a different town when I fly in somewhere. I disable it because I'll be like trying to do something and it'll go to like slam. It like slams on the brakes while you're driving. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Stop doing that. Or you're like trying to move and it's like, meh. I'm like, I'm not wrecking because of you. We're not doing this. I'm like, burp.
And the Yukon, my seat vibrates if I'm like swerve at all. And so it's like, it's very jarring. So,
that would scare the shit out of me. Can you turn that off?
I don't know. It keeps me in the lane.
It's like the thing that says we think it's time that you take a break. Like you need a coffee,
break.
the coffee break thing, and I'm like, no, this is just me. I don't know what you're like,
your car says that?
Yeah, not my car.
Mine
does.
Does it?
Do you drive an Audi?
Mercedes.
Huh. Maybe it was my. Yeah, I had a Mercedes. Maybe that's what it was. But one of the cars that I've had has popped up that coffee break, and I've been like, that's rude. I'm just
I was like, how dare you?
I'm driving with my knees because I'm eating and
like,
looking. I might be texting on some. I'm looking for things. There's a very important email.
Don't you judge me.
Don't need a coffee break, you asshole. I'm drinking Celsius right now as we speak. No one cares.
So, Rob, talk to us about what you do. I know you do mass torts, but that seems like such a big term.
Mass generalization, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because, like we've known each other for over a decade. We all participate in our awesome trial lawyer organization. And Georgia has such a great, deep bench of such wonderful trial attorneys. And I feel like the citizens of the state are really well covered when they are in an accident or hurt at work, that there's so many good lawyers that they can choose from. And then when the very biggest and best cases come out, they know who to kind of refer them to so that the clients get the kind of compensation that's warranted under the law. And so it makes it hard to figure out, how am I going to compete? How do I fit in this space? And somehow or another, the way the world works, I found myself thrust into, by happenstance, a medical device case where that is ordinary product liability like any other tort lawsuit, where design defect, failure to warn, manufacturing defect are kind of your negligence and strict liability universe of claims. And I brought this case and I learned all about federal preemption of lawsuits, the FDA regulatory scheme, and just realized just how dumb I am. And
I actually don't know what any of that means.
That's what I was just going to say.
Panic.
Were you self-taught on
Yes,
that?
I was self-taught.
I would literally be like, well, I guess I'm getting this fucking book out and I'm going to read this chapter and then this chapter.
Westlaw.
Yes, exactly. I'd be like, what are the applicable cases on point, please?
So real quickly, because we'll keep this moving, but any drug or device that's licensed, approved for sale in the United States of America has to be cleared or approved by the FDA. If it's a drug, you go through what's called a new drug application, meaning that you go through clinical trials and you prove safety and effectiveness. And the Federal Drug and Cosmetic Act, that controls all submissions for approval to sell a drug in the United States, has an express preemptive provision that prevents you from bringing state law claims. So if you sue that something's wrong with a drug and it's in the label and the United States Food and Drug Administration approved that label and approved that drug, you cannot bring a civil lawsuit for state law claims.
So you have to go federal.
You just can't go federal. A federal judge just writes a nasty opinion calling you stupid.
Okay.
But if there are things in the label that happens that aren't accurate or are later discovered, you can open the door. And that is where the universe lives, right? So think of it this way.
Really fast, is that why every single commercial on TV is like,
the long list
may cause lung cancer, anal leakage, vomiting of blood. It's
always diarrhea.
Complete deafness, blindness,
Impotence.
Infertility, impotence. Yeah, and death may sometimes occur. Is that why they do the entire list?
But your legs won't be restless.
Yeah, but you know what? You might be able to sleep better tonight on your Ambien. Congrats! Yeah.
So yes, that is called, we call it in the vernacular, the parade of horribles. But at the end of the day, that's right. You have a disclosure that's both in your instructions for use. Your physician is your healthcare conduit, right? So there's two challenges in a pharmaceutical case involving drugs. And the first is, can you sue? And the can you sue is does the label adequately convey the risks as known by the manufacturer when they submitted it to the FDA. If that answer is no, and you can establish knowledge and they have to change the label, or they could change the label based on the knowledge they had, your claim can proceed on a failure to warn theory and potentially a design defect theory, depending on your state's risk-benefit test. Nerdy shit, but like at the end of the day,
couldn't love that more. Rebecca's actually a bigger nerd than me, so she's probably like, yes.
Oh, I'm like, and how do you prove
She's
that?
like,
is it
me
emails, research?
Yes, it is.
Like,
it is millions of terabytes of emails that an army of lawyers go through, and then you use experts to establish what the science says, what the medicine says. What does the medical literature say? What did they know? When did they know it?
What
how did the
should they have
FDA
known?
not get what they needed to know to act? And if the FDA acts, which the FDA, and this is the part that's our protection, this is our safety net. If you get approved by the FDA to do a sale of a pharmaceutical in the United States, every year you have to turn in an annual report and you have to track your adverse events. Every single bad call that comes about a drug or a medical device is tracked by the FDA. And if a safety trend appears, the FDA acts. And if the safety trends are deceived, you can open the door for claims. So the name of the game is, did they tell, and why didn't they? And of course they didn't tell, and we know why they didn't. Money.
Cash.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's our universe.
I was like, cash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's our universe. And so many cases die at the summary judgment floor. In fact, this morning, I received an order, and there was a massive litigation going on where Tylenol causes ADHD and autism for moms that use uses Tylenol. Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
I did it, right?
We knew what you were trying to say.
But the allegation was hey, if you use this in utero, while your child's in utero, you have medically increased the likelihood of ADHD and autism in your offspring. Well, the multi-district judge handling the thousands and thousands of claims in the Southern District of New York determined that we could not prove on a general causation standpoint, meaning that the drug itself can actually cause those illnesses in utero children as a matter of the scientific evidence introduced under Daubert. The judge said no, so now the case is over, barring appeal and all of that stuff. But as we stand here today, that's a dead case, right?
Tylenol's the only thing you can fucking take when you're pregnant.
I know.
Like, for the love of God, please don't tell me we can't take that. I mean, Adeline ended up
I don't have
fine.
any Tylenol cases.
Yeah,
so
I'm like,
I understand.
okay, good.
I do have an
And I'm gonna go
ADHD
ahead-
kid, so now I'm like,
But I blame that
was
on
I taking
I
Tylenol?
blame that on. I've got two, but I blame that because look,
Genetics.
I mean, like, come on, it
yeah.
came straight from dad.
It wasn't because I had a headache one day and took a Tylenol while breastfeeding. That just wasn't
dad.
like,
it.
I am a case study.
But
in
that's kind of
ADHD.
how this works, right?
Right.
You have a universe. You say the label doesn't tell people about this. You have the information. We're going to hold you responsible and you need to change the label. And when thousands and thousands and thousands bring claims that are hard to prove, the pharma companies have to take notice. It's not like a civil lawsuit where, like, an insurance company is going to cover it and the limits settle the case, or you get lucky and you try a case and you blow the limits and you get all that fun stuff that in our normal universe. Mm-hmm. This is all about sheer numbers and power because there's not enough lawyers and there's not enough judges to get these cases tried.
And so much money. They're so expensive cases.
Right. So if you can try the case and they're lined up thousands upon thousands, a settlement will come. Mm-hmm. Hence the wine. It takes time.
Yeah. Cheers. This is delicious wine, by the way.
It is also, it's like, if you think about it in the world of product liability, it's settling 25,000 soft issue cases at once.
Right.
In the thousands, because as it stands by itself, no one would bring one of those claims on its own because it'll take millions of dollars to prove, and the damages may not be as much as the cost of the case.
Right.
So this is an imperfect system that does a good job of holding pharma responsible because the FDA can't and Congress won't.
And it makes sense because I think about our friends that do products cases, and every time I try to send them one, because in comp we'll run into a lot, like a machine malfunction. Mm-hmm. And every time I feel like I send one, they're like,
no.
Was there an amputation? Did they die?
Did somebody die?
And I'm like, well, no, but their arm snapped in a couple of places. No. They're like, nope. because
They
it
die.
takes so much
money,
so much money
time.
to prove it.
Yeah.
And then in the end, they're like, then the person's left with nothing. By the time we pay our experts and we take our fee, there's nothing left. So that does make sense where you've got like this mass injury to people that might not be that much dollar-wise per person. You can combine it and
a
make
difference.
something out of it. Yeah.
So what do you have currently? What are the new hot button cases, the new trends and the mass torts? Give them up. What do we have happening?
I think that's why I was so glad that you guys asked me to be here, right? Because you guys do such a good job, like just.
And we're awesome.
Well, yeah, duh. But I mean, like realistically,
I'm kidding.
Because we're fun.
you
Hang
talk-
out with and drink wine.
You talk women power, right?
Yes.
And I mean, like, let's be just straight frank. The pharmaceutical industry and the medical device industry makes a fortune off women, and they don't give a shit about women. And I do.
They don't do proper testing of
don't.
half of the shit on women. It's like healthcare for women. Like, how long have we had Viagra? That's cute. What about some of the issues that we face? It'd be really fucking helpful if you guys could go ahead and get those drugs approved and worked on, but they don't do it. It's absurd.
So I will quickly preview like the case that's the most mature and the one that I work on most directly. So I'm on the executive committee, which in a mass tort, the only way to litigate a case is the court appoints a leadership slate. So there's thousands of cases, but like somebody's got to actually read the documents, take the depositions, hire the experts, and defend the Dalberts and go do the bellwether trials, right? So the court appoints a slate. And myself and about 7 amazing people, Andy Childers, who you may know, Aaron Copeland, who's the lead counsel in the litigation, who's a lawyer out in Houston, who's really one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, and just Fidelma Fitzpatrick at Motley Rice. There's this whole army of these amazing women that lead this tour, and it's an IUD, the Paragard IUD, right? And so Paragard is a non-hormonal IUD. So it's an option for women that's been around since the 80s, designed
Right.
in the 70s, but it uses copper. And it's a T, but some dude in the 70s came up with it. So it's a straight T, has no concern about what a uterus actually looks like.
Yeah.
And it's wrapped in copper, right? And for whatever reason, copper in the uterus is just no bueno for the
I
contraception.
don't know that really like copper in your body at all is probably a really good idea to implant
It's
it.
not the biggest problem with the product, but effectively, this IUD that's up to 10 years of indication, you can implant it and explant it, and you're supposed to be able to go right back to
Having babies.
family planning that you want. But what they don't tell women, and they've known as a problem since the 80s, is it breaks. Mirena doesn't break. Skyla doesn't break. You know, they have arms that go with the hormonal IUD that are conducive to the actual uterus, and the materials and the mold is of higher quality. But because the FDA sets what can be used, how it must be made, and what is approved, this same device is gone forever. So they created a system of pharmacovigilance, post-market surveillance that doesn't pick up that they have a problem, because safety trends equals FDA action. So what do? It's Sergeant Schultz from
Bury that shit. You hide it.
From the old I know nothing. So our job as the plaintiffs in that case is to show that not only did the entities that owned the new drug applications approval to sell Paragard have the ability to change the label and make it safer for women so the doctors can warn, but they didn't, because they created a system to where they would never be able to put 2 and 2 together. And so we're in the middle of that case. And the sad thing is if an IUD breaks when it's removed, it's a DNC, right? Like, no woman wants to get an IUD and then have to come back 2 weeks later and have a DNC, right?
Nope.
And if they don't get it, if they can't get it, you might end up 25 years old with an IUD at 35 and wanting to get kids, and your time's running out, and you're looking at a hysterectomy. You know?
You and I talked about this some yesterday, because I have an IUD, but I have a Mirena.
Same.
But you know this. Well, my twins are IVF. Sorry, kids, if you're listening. Hopefully you're not, because this is explicit. But part of the reason I almost got a Paragard, because I felt like part of the reason I had so many issues having them was because I was on birth control for 1 million years. And so I was really worried about the hormonal component of Mirena. And so I thought about getting a Paragard. The doctor discouraged me from it, but didn't say anything about it breaking. She was like, let's just do a Mirena. No specific reason, but I was pushing for Paragard because I was like, I didn't want to do the hormonal option. So I'm kind of curious looking back time-wise if maybe they knew, even, could she have known? Because I was probably 5 or, how old is George? 7.
7.
So it's been 6 years ago when I got mine. But that is one of my concerns too, is like in removing them. Like, are they snap? Does it just snap when you remove it and then it gets
and then
stuck?
because it's a T, right?
Jesus Christ. Yet they're not comfortable. Anything dealing with an IUD and putting it in and taking it out.
Horrific.
All of
Nobody
those things,
warns you.
It's horrific. And I've had, I think, 2 or 3 DNCs in my life. They're not enjoyable. None of it's fun.
It's traumatic.
But it's traumatic. And it's, it's just, I think it's a real strong signal of our country's healthcare and just kind of turning a fucking blind eye to women's actual concerns.
And here's the
safety.
And here's the part that I did the Escher before this, and Escher is a sterilization device where they just put like basically coils into your fallopian tubes, and it responds with an inflammatory response. So cell tissue grows in the fallopian tubes around these springs, and it closes the tube so you can't get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Is this from like the 60s
No,
when they
it's
did
from the
lobotomies?
2000s.
What are you talking about?
So the spring would pierce through the fallopian tubes, and you get ectopic pregnancies. It would migrate into the uterus and rupture the ovaries, and it just a nightmare product. Hysterectomies.
Just
out the
jam
window.
some
And guess
coils
where-
and
And guess
springs
where we got
right in your
all
vagina.
of the implants? Through Medicaid at Planned Parenthood.
No.
Almost every single one of my clients.
Oh my God. Is it still being done?
No,
Or is this
because it got
done,
black.
right?
It's removed from the market. It'll never be sold again. We settled it for over $1 billion.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, our country's ability to really have major concerns.
But it's
about
always
poor women.
It's always poor
Poor
women.
women,
And
every time.
Guess who gets Paragard by and large? Planned Parenthood.
Really?
Poor women.
So that is one of the big women cases that we're fighting now, and like the goal will be is let's improve the device. Let's give doctors, because here's the last thing on mass torts, because I know our time will run quick and we could talk about it forever. But in order to win a lawsuit, you have to have the doctor that implanted it saying, had I known what they weren't telling me, I would have told them to make a different healthcare choice, right? And that's not every jurisdiction. But it's an important fact for a jury. So whether the jurisdiction requires it for failure to learn, or whether or not it's required for a jury to get over the hump, it's an important fact that you're always fighting in every.
I would want to know
case.
that. Yeah, definitely
Right.
on a jury. Yeah, to hear that, I think would be very powerful.
I want the doctor to be able to say, had they just told me that yes, Mirena has these problems with hormones, and Paragard has these problems with its design to give up hormones, do you want to risk the potentiality of losing your fertility and having a surgical procedure to remove to avoid hormones? And if not, I'll prescribe something different. And that's what this case will turn on. And we don't know, but here's the thing about mass torts. We have 3,000 cases that exist. There's over 2,000 filed. That's a lot of lawsuits that have to be tried. So the case should settle, but and it's pending here in Atlanta. And we'll have our
what
first
is the
trials.
time frame?
Our first trial's next October in front of Judge May.
Oh. Well, I want to go watch
I
that.
was like, looks like we might be popping up for that.
You're welcome to it.
Yeah, I think.
What if
I
we get
love
called
that.
for the jury? Will you be like, if you see
Then
us in
you
the
probably
audience?
shouldn't disclose that we have this podcast.
Probably not.
I definitely won't strike you.
Well,
Yeah, they'll be like, have you ever discussed or do you know anything about? I'd be like, absolutely fucking not.
Do you know Rob Hammers?
No.
Like, we've all seen your Facebook page. Of course
Yeah,
you know Rob
no.
Hammers.
and I was a
Absolutely
paralegal at Motley Rice, so I'm sure I'd be done.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're out.
Yeah.
100%.
Between Rob and Motley Rice.
So with the time remaining, let's talk about the hottest thing in
Yes.
medicine today that directly and disproportionately affects women, and that is the newest and greatest super weight loss.
Can we guess what that drug is?
Dun,
Yes,
dun,
guess.
dun. Well, Adeline sent my daughter sings the commercial.
Oh, Ozempic.
Ozempic. Ozempic? Yeah, I mean, like, she does it. Oh, no, maybe that's O'Reilly.
No, it's almost the
But
same,
it's
though.
almost the same, right? So, yeah, so she
Except for
does,
I'd much rather get autopause.
yeah, 100%. So she sings the Ozempic song, which is fucking insane. And then, again, we talked about this on one of our podcasts, but Rebecca's husband, Ryan, told her at a dinner, he called her the anti-Ozempic. And she was like, what the fuck? And I was like, Brian, what the fuck? And Rebecca stripped down to like her bra and underwear later, and she goes, do you want me fatter or thinner? Fatter or thinner? Like this,
Because I could get Ozempic, but I'm anti. And he goes, so that's why he calls me the anti-Ozempic.
And he was like, this is not what I meant. This really came out. And she's like, fatter or thinner? Fine. And so Rebecca and I may be the only two women in Atlanta in our world that are not on fucking Ozempic. So, and it's mainly because I'm scared of what the fuck would happen. So tell me what could possibly happen, Rob.
So it's new, right?
Yep.
But what we do know is this is what they call a blockbuster drug, right? It means it's making a lot of money. And Denmark...
Renting money. I mean...
Printing. Why didn't we invest in this sooner? Like right at the beginning.
I think we're going to be glad we didn't.
When our friends just got on it, well, no, we could have gotten out because Rob could have given us some inside information. He's like, we're going to fucking sue the shit out of you to sell that stuff.
They
Is that insider trading?
It's
I
going
don't
to take
know
a long
those
time.
words,
When we talk about it takes a long time.
It does. Takes a real long time.
This is a 10-year sojourn that we're getting on. And the whole warning of we could lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could totally lose this case. But what we do know is throughout the history of mass torts, weight loss and diabetes are the two fingerprint culprits of some of the worst actors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this drug's both, right?
For
Because
sure.
this drug was approved for type 2 diabetics to reduce A1Cs.
Right.
Very good at that. In fact, incredible at that. But its market share was so-so, right? I mean, there's 34 million Americans with type 2 diabetes. Only about 4 million were using Ozempic. It's a shot. You take it once a month. It costs $1,400. It's not covered by all major medical, right? But guess what it does? It slows down your digestive process to the extent to where you almost don't eat and you start to lose weight. And you start to lose weight in a way in which you don't feel terrible and you don't feel angry and you don't feel anxious and you don't change mood and you have nutrition in your body because it's sitting in your stomach and it's getting in drip by drip into the small intestines and out into the bloodstream, but it's staying in your stomach.
So basically you're constipated.
Reverse, right? Because it's not in your colon.
Oh, you're right. So it's still
in
just
your
stuck in your stomach and it's not...
stomach. Yeah. So
I don't know that sounds very healthy. I didn't really
I
know
don't
the
think
way
it's
that it
healthy at
works.
all.
It doesn't sound good to me.
It doesn't sound good to me either. But what we know is that it's effective.
Right.
And once the reality was out to the public that this thing has an ancillary benefit of weight loss, the off-label promotion began and the weight loss clearance to sell it happened. And now it's making so much money.
Skyrocketing.
Just look at Novo Nordisk's stock.
Yeah.
And if you say don't you buy it now and then short it, right? Because like it's got years of making money before it gets nasty. But here's the big problem. Gastroparesis is just the medical term for stomach paralysis. We don't know if it's going to be permanent. We don't know for everybody how bad it's going to be, but that means your stomach just stops digesting, period. So get off Ozempic, and guess what? You still can't digest food. You now have to go to Kill Me Crazy for the rest of your life, right? Good luck.
Wait. Okay, but let's draw this back for a minute. So you're saying if you end up getting one of these side effects that are fucking terrible, gastroparesis, sweet, I got it. You're what? Only gonna eat salad, or can you not have
Salad,
like burgers? Oh,
smoothies.
We're talking Ensure.
oh, Jesus, tits! Seriously?
Yeah.
No
Because
more
you
house,
can't
steakhouse.
break down like no more house.
Your stomach doesn't digest.
Would you get a colostomy bag or just nothing? You're just done. No, because that's colon related. So you're screwed. You're just insured. Has this happened to people already?
It has.
Oh my God, I knew it. I'm going to be fat forever, but I'll be able to eat a fucking steak.
Here's the crazy part.
Nailed it.
Like, because standard of care, right? We all know in med-mal world, like, the standard of care is what you have to do in order to say you breached it in order to sue a doctor, right? Well, the standard of care to tell a patient before they go into a surgical procedure that you need to not eat or drink anything for 24 hours.
Right.
Well, there's no standard of care for Ozempic, so you need to be off of Ozempic for a month to digest your food that's in your stomach so that you can fast for 24 hours to have a surgical procedure. You could be under as an Ozempic patient.
And throw up, and then you can aspirate. You're
and
done.
Be dead.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to sound like not that bright, but I'm dumbfounded by this. This is shocking to me.
Yeah,
I knew there was going to be issues. I already knew that.
And
I didn't know what they were.
The scariest thing for me is deep vein thrombosis, right? Because heavy people who are coming to Ozempic to get weight loss relief, because we all have met people in our lives who, no matter what they do with diet, exercise, self-restraint,
I have
they just
some
can't
friends,
lose
they
the
can't
weight.
lose it.
They
It's
can't
just
lose the weight.
genetics.
That's
it's
right.
just genetics.
So they get on Ozempic.
I have to exercise.
Sorry, baby, you're not one of those heavy people.
But they get on Ozempic, and then the magic happens, right? But guess what happens with the risk of anything that happens suddenly and rapidly is a blood clot can form in your lower extremities, and you can blow it and send it to your lungs and have a pulmonary embolism, the quiet killer, and it'll kill you right then and there. And there's nothing in the label that tells you it can cause DVT, and it certainly does.
Really?
Well, I'm gonna have to prove in court, but
That's part of the process.
Yeah, but I think a part of the other issue that I've seen is a lot of thin friends who are already very thin, like thin, and then they get on it, and I'm like, your body's literally wasting away. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's got to be like some sort of nutritional deficit, like deficiency that's happening. It's astounding.
Well,
so
and it's
that goes to the
interesting.
marketing claims, right?
Well, I think because now everybody wants. Remember, in the '90s, everybody was like heroin chic, as one of our friends refers to her body shape. I think that was like the body shape for a long time.
Well,
and
it was Kate Moss with Karl Lagerfeld that came out.
And everybody
with Kate
wanted
Moss.
to be like that emaciated, like no muscles, no fat. And I was so happy for the last 15 years while it was the Kardashian body shape was in. I couldn't have been happier. And now it's back to heroin chic.
But here's the thing. What I don't think, though, in talking with many of our male friends, is the heroin chic look actually attractive to the men. It's very attractive to the women because we're so judgmental and have such terrible body dysmorphia about ourselves, right, when we look in the mirror. But our guy friends that we've talked to has been like, I don't find a 14-year-old boy's body attractive. That's not what I'm in for. I actually like a woman's body, and that's not the heroin chic look.
I'll refrain for commenting on that.
Well, we've got a gentleman here right now.
But
He's end them out.
I will say, I mean, just like I'm a friend to women, and my whole team is women. We fight hard for women, and we get their issues, and it's a struggle to get what's an easy profit center to not target you. And this drug bugs me. And what we've had our experts and some physicians facetiously say, and it's medically induced anorexia. And that's, I can't think of a better.
It is full-blown medically induced anorexia. I couldn't agree more.
I think that's part of the appeal. And I've never been diagnosed with an eating disorder, so I'm not going to say that, but I've always struggled with weight and body image. And there is a lot of appeal in taking it. I tell you, I'm
so
like
Rebecca and I
this
literally
close.
hold each other accountable to this, because so when it first came out, we were like, "God damn cheaters!" Rebecca works out all the time, and then we're like,
it worked.
But look how skinny they look. They look really
look
skinny.
amazing.
Should we go ahead and get on that? And so, every once in a while, I'll call her and be like, Rebecca, I gotta be honest with you. I gotta tell you something. She goes, if you fucking tell me you started on Ozempic, I'll kill you. I'm like, no, dude, it has nothing to do with Ozempic.
Well, okay,
and it's hard. Even having this conversation, I would still.
I'll make this point.
No, ma'am.
So
you're done.
In the world of drugs and devices, there's always competitors, right? And what we call it in the industry is the RAD, the reasonably alternative design. And Mounjaro may be better.
Yeah.
But it's currently
Or what
not
about
being
Wegovy?
used. Nope, they're getting sued.
Oh yeah, I've no doubt.
But Mounjaro, I don't know. I'm not promoting.
Let's just wait and see how it turns out. I feel like we're
I will say
pretty
this,
solid right now.
That at the end of the day, this is the grossest part that I'm looking at now, and we don't know exactly how we're going to skin this cat, because claims that are traditional in our world of causation and warnings that we're fighting in will be interesting, but the promotion of this drug seems criminal. What I learned at a recent conversations with some experts and some studies.
We call that a round table.
An average woman who engages in what an algorithm on social media will identify as a likely Ozempic profile is receiving 52 social media prompts a day for Ozempic. And if you engage with that social media site and you click through the TikTok or the Instagram post, it will divert you to a telehealth medicine, and you can walk away with a prescription, whether you're meeting the weight limit requirement for the off-label.
All you need is the money.
Is all you need.
You just need the money. That's it.
You get a telehealth doctor on the minute that you ask for it, interacting directly with the ad
without any knowledge of like what you weigh, what your body BMI is, or
so
anything.
Are those physicians going to lose their licenses?
I have no idea
like
what will happen
should.
to the physicians that have been licensed to answer
to
the
do
call.
this.
But I also know under the law, the assumption of the risk will be a big problem for the women who deceive physicians with the criteria to get the fix. But it seems like a criminal DOJ type of issue to be secondary, and we're looking at opioids.
You know, and I do feel like a lot of friends that started getting it initially weren't from their actual like PCPs. It was more from like
spa doctors,
med spa type doctors, and
100%.
I mean, we're looking at Florida fucking strip malls with their little fentanyl patches that they're just handing out, and lollipops that they're handing out like candy.
No, it is.
I mean, that's where we're headed, right?
You're not wrong.
A bunch of telehealth NPNs and RPNs and MDs who don't have enough income, who are just filling Ozempic prescriptions to meet their so they can buy a Mercedes. They're going to be talking to the Department of Justice in a few years.
So you're saying Sarah and I should stay a little chubby and happy?
Neither one of you are chubby.
Oh,
but I know
look
you're
at
happy.
you. You're very cute. I mean, we're pretty happy, but I feel like.
P.S. I don't mean that you're chubby. You know what I mean.
No, I don't care about that. I don't actually think.
Skiing.
Yeah, let's go skiing, right? But no, like
she has 5 trips.
Yeah,
there's some options.
I only have
here.
one, and I'm just waiting on Alan Hamilton to confirm it.
Yes, I love that.
Victory Reds.
God, that'll be fun. But no, Rebecca has possibly the best ass on a woman I've ever seen. I've got pretty good boobs, so I think you put us together like we can hold our own without the Ozempic. I mean, for the most part, I'm not heroin
We
chic,
could be our own Kardashian.
We could be our own Kardashian if we turned us into what is it, like a centaur.
I mean, you're partners. That's what happens, right?
You just cut off. What is that movie? That terrible horror movie, the Human Centipede, Human Millipede.
Oh yes, Human Centipede.
We can just cut our part.
Yeah.
It's fine. Killed it.
Totally fine.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's not creepy at all.
No, but I do, I think that poor women and especially minority women in the medical field have been screwed with since time began, when it comes to a lot of these drugs. So we are very thankful that you are making that fight. I think it's fantastic. And I've been very worried about some of our friends, with some of the stuff they do, but to each their own, and hopefully they're not going to have to fucking just drink Ensure out of a straw, because that sounds terrible.
I love steak.
I
really
want to be able to keep going to his job.
Yeah, I mean, we really like Hal's.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like Johnny's is not the same unless you start it out.
No,
exactly.
And I can promise you, if you're just drinking Ensure, you are absolutely having anal leakage. There is no fucking doubt. There is no question about you're not having anything solid in or out of your body.
I thought you were going to say it was like when I got.
I don't think you'll have a solid shit again.
Ever.
Sure. Yeah.
Ever. You will have to have
liquid
a colostomy.
in, liquid out.
Yeah, all in, all out. I mean, it is.
Terrible.
No, but it's it's fair. It's true.
So before we wrap up, like if somebody is having like a weird drug thing or something like that's going on, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best thing to do about these big mass tort claims?
So thank you. I really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Well, got to give you a plug if you're going to be on here bringing us.
Right. So obviously, Hammers Law Firm is my firm.
Mm-hmm.
We've been around for a really long time. We are easy to find. And it's Rob at Hammers Law Firm's my email. Our phone number is 770-900-9000. And I tell people, and I told you this when we were talking a little bit about coming in today, which is like our lawyer friends who are on this podcast and in our community, they don't think about how this can be part of their practice. And one of the easiest things to do is just to reach out to me and say, what can I put on my webpage so that my SEO and my digital and my client base and in my newsletter, I can communicate where these claims come from, because your clients will get hurt and their knee implant or their hip implant will go bad. Well, I can make them hundreds of thousands of dollars on that claim, pay you a referral fee, and it was as easy as,
right.
Just
it's like the
just
Camp. It's like the Camp Lejeune cases.
I have so many of those, and they're great cases.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing, and then another thing is like, just think about it this way: all of us have to market our law firms, right? And our budgets need to be spent wisely, but it's also we have good years, and sometimes you're facing a tax problem where, like, you get to the end of the year and you don't really need any more income for what you wanted to earn this year, and you don't really have a strategy in which to make that money work for you that won't be taxable. But if we do a partnership where you come to me and you say, hey, I'd like to do Ozempic, or I would like to do Paragard, or I would like to do Camp Lejeune, I can say, why don't you take some of the money that you are going to have to pay taxes on, you don't know what to do with, and we invest it into a marketing campaign where my law firm will handle all the cases and all the expenses and see it through settlement, and you'll help with client administration and client communication, and we'll split the fee, and you pay for the marketing, and I'll see the case over the goal line. You save that money, you reinvest it, and it returns for you in really, really interesting numbers that hit you.
That is some brilliant business stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, I can't say how thankful we are, number one, for your delicious wine, because it was very good.
It was so good.
It was so good. I'm going to have a little bit more whenever we're done. But thank you so much for taking your time in the new year to come and hang out with me and Rebecca, not at a Johnny's, not at a work event, none of those things, but actually imparting a lot of really great information that can help a lot of our listeners, whether it be the attorneys or, I mean, maybe some of our friends that are going to have to drink Ensure. God damn, I hope they're not going to, because that sounds awful. But
if they do, I hope they call you.
But if they do, I do hope they call you. And thank you for also championing some of the voices that don't always have really good representation. So thank you for doing that as well.
You're
we
welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming today.
Happy New Year.
Cheers, Rob.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year,
Happy
Rob.
New Year.
We love having you. This was wonderful.
So fun.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Lawyers and Libations. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else that you may listen to your podcast. Who knows? There's always fun reels.
Prime now, I think, maybe. I don't know. Some more podcast locations these days.
I have absolutely no idea. But we also do fun reels, so you'll probably see some of those. But you can click on the link and you can get the full episode because they're very helpful. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you after the new year. Good luck, everybody.